There is a question in FR for November 2020 examination. This MTP has been released yesterday. So there was a question that an entity engaged in automobile sector has assessed the impact of COVID-19 outbreak on its future viability of business model. Senior management has identified the need for restructuring some of its business activities and retrenching its employees in many areas. Senior management is drawing up a plan for consideration of the board of directors in their meeting scheduled in May 2020, which is subsequent to the reporting date of the current financial year, that is 31st March 2020. Can the entity recognize provisions for restructuring costs in the financial statements of the current year, that is 2019 and 20? Answer for this is in accordance with para 72 of Ind AS 37 provisions, contingent liabilities and contingent assets, a constructive obligation to restructure arises only when an entity has detailed formal plan for restructuring, identifying the business or part of business concerned, the principal location affected, the location, function, and approximate number of employees who will be compensated for terminating their service, the expenditures that will be undertaken, and when the plan will be implemented, and has raised a valid expectation in those affected that it will carry out the restructuring by starting to implement that plan or announcing its main features to those affected by it. Further, para 75 of Ind AS 37 provides that a management or board decision to restructure taken before the end of the reporting period does not give rise to a constructive obligation at the end of the reporting period unless the entity has, before the end of the reporting period, started to implement the restructuring plan or announce the main feature of the restructuring plan to those affected by it in sufficiently specific manner to raise a valid expectation in them that the entity will carry out the restructuring. In the given case, since COVID-19 pandemic impact started during March 2020, it is likely that the senior management started drawing up the plan for restructuring some of its business activities after end of the reporting period, that is 2019-20. If that be so, as per Ind AS 37, the management decision subsequent to reporting date do not give rise to constructive obligation as of a reporting date, and no provision is required for restructuring cost as at 31st March 2020. In this regard, para 75 of Ind AS 37 provides that if an entity starts to implement a restructuring plan or announces its main features to those affected, only after the reporting period disclosure is required under Ind AS 10 disclosure. Only after the reporting period disclosure is required under Ind AS 10 events after the reporting period if the restructuring is material and non-disclosure could influence the economic decision that users make on the basis of the financial statements.